Good morning and welcome to VOP This Morning. I am Moses Humphrey. And on the show today, we'll be digging into the details of the letter sent to President-elect Bola Tinubu by the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, where he said he was looking forward to working with Nigeria's next president. Plus, after so much had gone into the planning, federal government at the last minute has suspended yet again the removal of fuel subsidy. Well, details of these will be on our radar today. Stay with us. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, and comment on our page on YouTube. It is Voice of the People TV. That is Voice of the People TV. And on other social media platforms, it's VOP TV Live. All right, UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak has written to President-elect Bola Tinubu ahead of his inauguration. In the letter, Mr. Sunak said he looks forward to working with Tinubu, who won the presidential election on the platform of the All Progressives Congress, APC, in February. Sunak also said he hopes to welcome Tinubu to London in April 2024 for the Second Africa Investment Summit, I beg your pardon. And he did say the summit will be a key moment to strengthen UK-Nigeria business partnership, and quoting him, in order to create jobs and growth, increase bilateral trade and investment, and support your aim of boosting Nigeria's export competitiveness. The Prime Minister said the UK will continue to support Nigeria in addressing its security challenges through the sharing of expertise and tools. All right. Well, I do have joining me virtually political affairs commentator with strong ties to President-elect Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. I have Shayi Oyetade joining me virtually. Good morning to you. Shayi.
Good morning, sir.
All right, Shayi Oyetade, good morning to you. Welcome to Voice of the People. Now, quick question. Mr. Tinubu seems to be gaining global acceptance in spite of the many hurdles he faces here at home. What's your view concerning the letter and the global acceptance that he's gaining so far?
Well, I want to thank you very much for having me this morning. And I want to say congratulations to Nigerians because of this acceptance that you just referred to. But, you know, going by His Excellency Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu's track record, is an enterprising person, very open to anything that will enhance productivity. We know he's in Lagos. Most of the references made to him is in the generation of IG and scaling it up and opening up the system. So the global community or the international community believes that with Bola Tinubu on the saddle, trade and investment will get a boost, and that's why, and everybody sees Nigeria as a very huge market. So partnership with Nigeria is based on mutual benefit. So that's why it's gaining the traction, it's gaining the attention, and so many world leaders, I'm sure, will follow suit. We follow after what the Prime Minister Sunak has done by making sure they find an inroad into the activities of Nigeria in the days to come.
Now, we know that in times past, we've seen cases where world leaders come to us and say, okay, yes, they want to work with us. And then we also have cases where politicians, government officials go over to try to, convince foreign investors to come to Nigeria. And, they tend to come, bring one or two things, maybe in form of loans and all of that. But the common man will not be able to say that he or she has benefited from those things. At the end of the day, it ends up being that those foreign companies tend to, take a whole lot more than they give. Please help me. Are we going to see something like that happen this time around?
Well, we're going to see a change because meetings were held 2 days ago, I think about 48 hours ago. It's not only the British government that is interested in Nigeria this time around. The Commonwealth is interested in Nigeria, especially interested in Nigeria, let me put it that way, and is to enhance quite a lot of trade and investment. And they are focusing on something. They want to talk to us about the ease of doing business. They're making sure that the begins to benefit from what you call the dividends of democracy gets to the common man. And they know Bola Tinubu, the president-elect, is a grassroots man. And they want to partner with him based on the fact that whatever they are bringing in must get to the grassroots. So the ease of doing business is one thing that they're going to be talking to us about. And most of the projects that they want to bring into has to do with what will change the life of the common man. One of such is in the area of electricity. That's power generation, power transmission, and power distribution. And that is directly impacting positively on the life of the common man. You are going to see quite a lot of boost in terms of collaborations in the area of IT, especially the creation of tech hubs across the 774 local governments that will directly impact on the life of the common man, talking about the local governments.
All right, now that's an interesting one. Now let's look at if we're using Lagos as a prototype to see what might be happening in Nigeria, what should happen in Nigeria. There are concerns in some quarters that what we've seen in Lagos, where certain roads were fixed and tolls placed on them, might be what will happen in Nigeria. So there are fears that a lot of roads might be tolled, a lot of levies and taxes might be imposed on the people. So when, that will now affect monies being gotten from, other things. You might just end up spending some of those monies on taxes, levies, and tolls. Can you help alleviate the fear, or, from your relationship with the president-elect? What would you say he has in mind when it comes to, making tolls and doing some other things?
I think it's going to be a give and take thing. Before levies are going to be imposed, before taxes are imposed, government, reading the mind of the president-elect, what will cushion the effect of that will have been put in place. So quite a lot of things that we look like we have to sacrifice will come, but the cushion effect will also be there. I know the president-elect is very sensitive. He's a very sensitive person, and he knows that before we impose anything on the people, there has to be dialogue, there has to be understanding, and there must be a cushion effect or effect of that policy already created for the people. So we are going not into an El Dorado. It's a journey to El Dorado, but sacrifices will have to be made by the government and the people.
All right, sacrifices between the government and the people, indeed. Now, we saw that, the president-elect said the other day that he needed to consult before telling us what his plans were, although we had earlier that he was in Paris to rest and plan, What is the scale of planning that is going on ahead of the May 29 inauguration? What can you tell us?
Planning as in, I don't get your hold on that question. Planning as in what?
In running the government of the country.
Running the government.
Yes.
Okay. Well, anybody that is very close to the president-elect will know that he loves to work with experts. And going by how he formed his cabinet in 1999, he broke all the rules around bigotry, because most of the people that he worked with in 1999 as governor of Lagos were not indigents of Lagos. He just went for experts. And there are so many sectors, critical sectors of our national life, that is calling for urgent attention. So while he was in France, unknown to many people, he was meeting with Nigerians in diaspora secretly who are experts in different subject matters. So I won't be surprised I cannot say recently that so and so person will be appointed, but Nigerians should wait and see that the first set of appointments that he's going to make are going to be experts on different critical subject matters that has serious implication on our national life.
Now, talking about appointments now, the previous administration, we saw a case where appointments didn't come till about 6 months into the tenure of the administration. And Nigerians are hoping that that will not be the case this time around because, I mean, the country has to be run. Government has to continue. Now, from what you've seen, and, you know, the meetings that you just said was held in France, are we going to see a situation whereby right after May 29, appointments would be made, cabinets would be named, and then, you know, governance will just continue? Is that what we should expect?
Yeah, you can take this to the bank.
Oh, great.
Bola Tinubu will hit the ground running with appointments from day one. And he already has a mental list.
Okay.
He's just not shared. He knows who will be where, especially when it comes to the critical areas of our national life. So major appointments will be made. And I think there was maybe an executive order or something like that that stipulates that appointments must be done within the first 60 days or something like that. I am not sure, but I think something like that flew around in recent times. So, but I'm pretty sure he already has a mental list. What he's doing right now, consultations that he's doing around the political class right now, is just to, you know, get the buy-in of the political class. But as far as critical areas are concerned, where he has veto power to exercise, he already has a mental list of who and who will occupy what and what.
All right then. Now let me take you back a bit. Let me take you back a bit to the issue of taxing that we talked about earlier. Now, you are close to the man, so I would say, if anybody would know the mind of the man, it would be one who is close to him. Would you describe him as a welfarist or a conservative? You know, because when Nigerians are... Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay, he has said that over and over again, and this is the way he puts it. I want to quote him verbatim.
Okay.
He said, "He is not a conservative progressive; that he is a welfarist." Yes, that I'm just quoting him verbatim. So he believes in welfarism. He does not believe in conservative progressivism. That's the way he normally puts it.
All right, great. That will be heartwarming to some Nigerians.
And again, our Constitution, Section 144, subsection 2 says the primary purpose of government is for the security and welfare of the people. So we expect our president to be very, very much into welfarism, because that's actually the serious concern of every Nigerian, my welfare.
All right then. Now let's go back to the consultation that you mentioned in Europe. You did say that he was consulting with Nigerians in diaspora and talking to experts on how they can improve the lives of Nigerians living in Nigeria and those in diaspora. And then he came back again to, you know, start consulting. One would have thought that consultations would have been done and dusted from right over there, and then coming back here will be, let's just start implementation. But then we heard him say, okay, he wants to, you know, he still has to consult. Is it that deep? The consultations, are they that intense?
I think it's the one he did in Europe, private consultation for his own efficiency, private efficiency, when he gets into government, because he will not have the opportunity to return to Europe until after the inauguration. But the one he's doing right now, the consultation he's doing right now, is just for political expediency, just to get the buy-in of the political class.
All right, so you're saying
that is expected. That's very much expected, because of you have to work with people and you have to listen to them and consider their recommendations too.
All right, then. So you're saying that the 1 month consultation in Europe was not enough to give Nigerians something to hold on to when he landed at the airport.
That's private for him, because, you know, he has the prerogative to make all kinds of appointments. He has already met with who is critical to him. I don't want to be mentioning names. Has his own inner focus that he's going to be working with and be bouncing ideas with. So he's done that private meeting, and then he already has a what do you call a sounding board. Certain people will be around him to bounce ideas and to consider quite a lot of things.
All right, and well, it's okay to mention names. I mean, we would like to know the names. If it's okay.
Well, I can only guess, but you will not. I'm sure you will see the likes of Dele Alaki occupy a very strong position around the president. Of course, Nasir Rufai will be there. Adisa Bala Usman will be there. Natu Musa will be there. Beta Edu will be there. And then what Nigerians should look out for again is that it's going to be a cabinet or a government structure that will be flooded by young and vibrant minds. The younger generation will have a dominant seat in this cabinet.
All right, that will be, that will gladden the heart of the young people to hear that the president-elect will give them a dominant seat, indeed. Now, how about the selection of principal officers of the National Assembly? Is he for zoning or consensus?
I think that is on the table for discussion within the party. The party men are sitting to consider how they go about that. So, and I think that that before the political party, the management of the political party, so that they do something that will be acceptable to all.
All right then. Okay. Now let's talk about traveling. There is still a whole lot going on in the country, and the president-elect, I know the campaigning was a tough one. It was a tough one. And right after the campaigning, he had to travel to go rest and consult, as has been rightly said. Now, before now, we had a case where the president would, spend a lot of time traveling on what, Nigerians will call unofficial travels. Are we likely to see that repeat itself in this administration?
Well, to be very direct, I'm sure what you're trying to say that the concern around his health is it real? That will require incessant travel, medical trips every now and then. Well, unfortunately, many people don't know him, and they speak out of ignorance. The man overworks himself. He does not just work, he overworks himself on a daily. Some of his trips abroad, they are not medical.
Okay.
It's just to rest. And anytime he even travels abroad, he does not rest. He's always working himself out. And it will be a thing of the past in terms of what people say, that the man is not healthy and all of that. By the time you see him operate as the president of, you will know this is a man that even the youth population will have to compete with in terms of work ethics.
Now, I must say, when he landed at the airport, he was looking robust. He was looking chubby. The cheeks were.
And that's the truth. That's the truth about him. He's not somebody that has a serious medical challenge has been bantered around.
Okay. So he's not a serious
I can say that
just a usual.
He doesn't have a serious. I mean, he's an old man. He's not in his 40s. He's not in his 50s. He must have some challenges, but they are not as serious as being bantered around.
Now, when you say he's an old man, you make it seem like he's really old.
He's over 70-year-old, and he's not hiding the fact that he's over 70. He's the age mate of my father. So, and I know that my father is not as active as I am, so I consider him as old man. He's not a young man, but he's an old man with a young mind.
Well, okay, but is your father within his
He's stronger than his body.
All right, but some would say he looks like
he has a very young mind.
A young mind in an old body.
Age is just a question of number. You are as old as your mind. You are as young as your mind.
All right then. Okay, talking about the age factor. Some Nigerians will say, "Oh, he he has been there. He has been there. We've had, he's been there for a very long time. So one would contend with the fact that is he in his 70s or is he in his 80s? Now this conversation has been going on for quite a long time. Anyway, if you want to respond to that, go ahead, fine. But now going back to him at the airport, I was saying something earlier. I was saying that he looked really refreshed and robust as he landed at the airport. But something was noticed in the video that went viral. There was some sort of medical device on his arm. Do you want to respond to that? Some have said...
I can respond.
Go ahead.
I can respond to that. Perish the thoughts. That was just a photoshopping activity of some mischievous person. He does not have that kind of problem that is wearing catheter or something. He doesn't have that kind of problem. Consider that to be a lie. Consider that to be the work of a photoshopper.
All right, thank you for that.
He doesn't have that kind of problem.
Thank you for that. Nigerians will be glad that you've cleared the air on that issue. So, but we say he doesn't have that kind of problem, and maybe the kind of problems he has are, age-related. Yeah.
Yeah.
Usually.
Yeah. Just like any other human being.
All right. Fantastic. Now let's look at some of the policies that he might be putting in place. Do you have an inkling into some of these policies that Nigerians should expect him to put in place in his first 100 days in office?
The one I'm very sure of that he has talked about is his approach to restructuring Nigeria. His own approach is let us go after fiscal federalism and devolution of powers so that the states can have more powers, they can be more autonomous to be able to control their destiny. So he's going to spend a lot of time lobbying the National Assembly for constitutional amendments for that to be accommodated.
All right, great.
That is in his heart.
Great. All right. Now, thank you very, very much for that one. That will gladden the hearts of Nigerians. But we also know that Buhari already signed bills to that effect.
Yeah. So he's only going to ride on that, on the expectation of that bill.
Pardon? I didn't get that.
He's only coming to implement that bill.
Okay, so he's going to implement it.
Local government autonomy is very, very much dear to his heart, so that grassroots politics can actually deliver on good governance. So, right. And the local governments will be strengthened, and there will be a lot of activity at the local government level.
All right, but you don't know, the ones that he will introduce himself. You don't want to speak on that one?
All right. Yes. I don't want to speculate on that.
All right, now let's also look at this relationship thing. We do know that the president-elect will be, the president-elect is by May 29. Nigerians will get to find out a whole lot more. Cases are in court now. What would you say his mind frame is to the cases that are against him at the Election Petition Tribunal?
The state of his mind has always been the same. Everybody, that is the right of any aggrieved person to go to court, and it's a court of evidence. And the APC lawyers are seriously prepared to submit evidence. So when evidence cross-examined, I think the judiciary, that's the work of the judiciary, but it's not perturbed. He believes that he won the election fair and square, and the lawyers are there to defend him. So he's not losing sleep over that. The APC lawyers are ready, and it's a battle of evidence.
All right, a battle of evidence indeed. Now, talking about Nigeria foreign relations, do we have hope that the image of Nigeria would be, made better by his administration? Are there things that will be put in place to ensure that the dignity and pride of Nigeria and Nigerians is, restored, especially in the eyes of international community?
Well, I can say this. It's not a classified information. I can give this. Well, 48 hours ago, I sat with the authorities in the Commonwealth, and they are very excited to see the president-elect become the president. And they already have a line item of things that they want to call him, especially the British government, who is a member nation of the Commonwealth. And then I can talk to you about South Korea because we all met. They are very much interested in coming into Nigeria to raise the bar of trade and investment. They have taken time to study the man, and they have studied Nigeria. It's truly a season of massive trade, massive investment, getting return on investment. And the UK especially is going to lead these efforts because we share quite a lot. We have a lot in common. There are so many Nigerians living in the UK, and the amount of capital flights from Nigeria into the UK, especially around the educational sector, is huge. And they consider it as a prick on their conscience to give back Nigeria, because what comes from Nigeria on a yearly basis paying school fees is huge. And they cannot afford to just watch us suffer unnecessarily. So they want to do something as a way of giving back to us. It's a matter of conscience for them right now. We had a meeting, a critical meeting, intense meeting 48 hours ago. And the Commonwealth is going to lend a huge support for Nigeria to succeed.
All right. Now, talking about supporting Nigeria and Nigeria succeeding, it's an open. I mean, it's everywhere. Nigerians know that this outgoing administration did a lot of borrowing. Now, borrowing in itself is not a problem. Countries borrow, but the incoming administration will be inheriting some of these borrowed monies. Are there plans to pay back or rectify some of these things, or are we going to see? Should we expect a situation whereby the country will borrow some more?
Well, I want to say this based on the interactions, based on the thinking of the president, to pay our debts. And it's a reality. I need to throw this open. To pay whatever, it's just a matter of innovation. There's a lot of innovation that Nigeria will witness, especially in the area of in the creative economy, in the ICT world. The amount of money that is available there can pay the debt of Nigeria within 3 months. So let's wait to see how Nigeria will work itself out of whatever indebtedness. The amount of money that is coming into Nigeria in terms of internally generated revenue, taxes from the ICT world, because something is to be created like a gate, a tax gate, because you really cannot fathom the amount of the billions of dollars that goes between Nigeria and the international community on a daily basis within that space, within the digital space. So Bola Tinubu's administration will be a departure from, will be a paradigm shift.
Okay.
And we see Nigeria recover economically.
Those are words of hope. Those are words of hope that Nigerians will hold on to. Strong words from you. Nigeria will recover, a paradigm shift indeed. Now, it's commonplace for president-elect and their vice president-elect to relocate to Defense House shortly before inauguration. We saw it happen during the election of President Buhari and his vice. They went to the Defense House just before inauguration. Now we've seen the president-elect now and his vice, Shetima, also relocate to Defense House. prior to inauguration. Now, we also do know that cases are in courts now. I mean, the tribunal, the election petition tribunal cases are there. What happens if there is a ruling that will, unseat the president-elect? What do you think will happen?
I don't want to imagine evil, but...
oh, you say it's evil. Some will call it justice.
Well, if it happens, I'm sure we will survive it. But whatever pronouncement that comes from the judiciary, be it. So, let's get to that bridge before we cross it. I don't want to be imagining many things.
Okay. All right then. Okay, now before I let you go, let's look at this rumor, this thing that has gone on for way too long. And Nigerians have talked about it. People have said a lot of things, but the man himself has not responded. And it would be nice to have a response from someone who is as close to him as you are. The issue of his involvement in drugs. Can you address that? Was he ever, at any point in time, maybe as a young person, as an exuberant young person, was he involved in drug trafficking or drug peddling of any kind?
Well, as a concerned Nigerian, as one that I'm referring to myself now as one that wants to be a student of my environment, I want to query my environment, I want to query my leader, I want to investigate whether something is the truth or not the truth. I looked into it, and I think Nigerians should do so much of that before they join in conversation and pass judgment and conclude. I did a private investigation into that, and I could see that there was something that looks like that. Okay. But it was his account that was suspected, and there was a forfeiture on a particular account simply because some monies were passing through, and there were allegations of, we suspect this to be proceeds of businesses around such substance, heroin and all of that. The account was forfeited, and that puts on you, the account owner, the burden of proof. You have to convince the government that this didn't happen. Things that came into the account actually came as a result of my trade and investment or savings. He actually didn't do that. He just forfeited it to the US government. And ever since that time, people have been generating all kinds of news. He used to be involved. If he was involved and indicted, he's traveled to the US many times. He's not a wanted person. If the government officials of the United States, the ambassador came here and visited him at home, and that has been going on for many years. He attended the inauguration, Obama's acceptance speech ceremony. So he's had a very robust relationship with the authorities in the United States. So why are we crying more than the bereaved here in Nigeria? If the US government is saying the man is not a wanted man, the man is free from any judicial crime, so why are Nigerians in Nigeria determined to prosecute him with their own mouth?
All right, thank you for clearing the air on that one. I must say thank you very much. Public affairs commentator, Shayi Oyetade, thank you for coming on VOP this morning.
Thank you for having me.
And we would like to have you again sometime.
I will surely come around.
All right, and up next on VOP this morning, the subsidy conundrum appears to be a cat with 9 lives, surviving every government. and its attempt to show it the door. When then will fuel subsidy finally be removed? Well, let's head into that conversation after this break.